Born into an age of war, he faced countless crises and defeats. Yet with caution and patience as his weapons, he steadily rose in power, and at last, at the age of 58, he claimed control over the realm. His name was Ieyasu Tokugawa, often called a Tanuki for his calm demeanor and his refusal to act rashly. Ieyasu's true strength lay in the lessons he carried. Being held hostage by his enemies, suffering crushing losses on the battlefield, he learned to endure, to wait without panic, and to strike only when the moment was certain. From the castle where he was born, to the temple where he fled, to blood-soaked battlefields, and the place where he is worshipped as a god. Each place reveals more of his ambition, his anguish, his choices, and the quiet meaning of his final victory. Let us journey into the heart of Japanese history. Ieyasu Tokugawa was a samurai who survived the Japanese Sengoku period and went on to rule the nation. His path was anything but a straight line. Taken hostage by his enemies as a child, he learned how to protect himself through hardship, and though he tasted defeat time and again, his spirit never broke. With caution, persistence, and unshakable resolve, Ieyasu carved his way forward and unified the land just before turning 60. There are no shortcuts to the summit. His quiet steps tell that story best. Ieyasu Tokugawa was born in this castle, Okazaki Castle. During the Japanese Sengoku period, his parents divorced shortly after his birth, and he spent his early years in uncertainty and instability. Yet this castle became the starting point of his life and the first step on a long journey that would end in the unification of the realm. Today's Okazaki Castle is a reconstruction, but within its grounds stands a museum that displays artifacts tied to the Tokugawa family, keeping Ieyasu's legacy alive. The wisdom and resolve needed to survive the Sengoku were born here, in this very place. At the age of 6, Ieyasu Tokugawa was sent as a hostage to Kiyosu Castle, the base of Nobunaga Oda. Though part of a political strategy, placing a young boy in the hands of a rival power was a deadly gamble. In a life without freedom, he sharpened his senses, constantly watching those around him, learning how to survive. It was during this time that he developed the caution and awareness that would later earn him the nickname Tanuki, one who never showed emotion, waited to read his opponent's moves, and acted only with care. On the battlefield, he moved without panic, missed no signs of weakness, and waited with calm patience for the perfect moment to strike. That mindset would shape his actions for the rest of his life. Today, the ruins of Kiyosu Castle are preserved as a park, with a reconstructed tower and historical exhibits. It is a place that speaks to the loneliness, struggle, and insight of the young Ieyasu. After his father's death, Ieyasu Tokugawa fled to Daijuji Temple. There he encountered the teachings of the Jodo sect of Buddhism. Its belief that this world is impure and one should seek a pure and peaceful realm left a deep mark on Ieyasu's view of life. The core of this teaching was, in this time of chaos, see the world as defiled and let your heart seek the ideal world in clarity. Ieyasu would carry these words as a guiding principle for the rest of his life. They were even inscribed on his battle flag during the siege of Osaka. Today, Daijuji still stands in quiet dignity, a place where the spiritual world Ieyasu once gazed upon can still be felt. It was here that he first touched the meaning of life. While based in Hamamatsu, Ieyasu Tokugawa faced his greatest enemy. It was the Battle of Mikatagahara. His opponent, Shingen Takeda, feared as the god of the battlefield. In that clash, Ieyasu suffered a crushing defeat. Barely escaping with his life, he fled back to his castle. That experience became a turning point, leading him to adopt a new strategy. Never push beyond reason. The loss meant so much to him that he had his own defeated figure painted as a lesson. Even today, a monument stands to remind us of the harsh reality of the Japanese Sengoku period and of the importance of learning from failure. For Ieyasu, defeat marked not an end, but the beginning of true growth. Hamamatsu Castle was the stronghold where Ieyasu Tokugawa lived from the age of 29 for nearly 17 years. He chose this location for strategic reasons, both to monitor the advances of Shingen Takeda and to control a key transportation route. After his crushing defeat at the hands of Shingen, Ieyasu began strengthening both his political and military foundations here. He reformed the tax system, organized his retainers, and developed the surrounding castle town, solidifying his regime on all fronts. As many of his closest vassals would later rise to prominence, Hamamatsu Castle came to be known as the Castle of Success. Today, a reconstructed tower stands atop the original stone walls, still echoing the determination and ambition of the young Ieyasu. Quietly nestled in its surroundings, the castle is now also known as Hamamatsu's most celebrated cherry blossom spot. Hills of Koriyama. Ieyasu Tokugawa joined forces with Nobunaga Oda and faced the army of Katsuyori Takeda at the Battle of Nagashino. There they employed a groundbreaking tactic known as the three-stage volley, a formation where gunmen were lined up in 3 rows and fired in rotation, creating a constant stream of gunfire. Ieyasu positioned his troops with a river and hill at their backs, using the terrain to make cavalry charges difficult, and strengthened the joint defenses alongside Oda's army. This battle marked a turning point in warfare, bringing an end to cavalry-dominated tactics and delivering a decisive blow to the Takeda clan. Today, the fields of Shitaragahara house a museum and reconstructed positions, allowing visitors to feel the intensity of that historic clash. For Ieyasu, it was a battle that proved the power of coordination and preparation. Ieyasu Tokugawa faced off against Hideyoshi Toyotomi. With a smaller force, he launched a series of small but effective strikes, targeting supply lines and scattered enemy units across multiple fronts. The result was a stalemate, and both sides agreed to end hostilities. Through this conflict, Ieyasu accepted Hideyoshi's unification of Japan, but without giving up his own land or military strength. He succeeded in maintaining his power in the eastern provinces of Japan. This was a masterclass in diplomacy, an example of how to win without direct victory. Today, the former battlefield has been preserved with monuments and a public park, where visitors can still sense the tension of the clash between 2 towering figures. Fushimi Castle was the political center built in the final years of Hideyoshi Toyotomi's life. After the death of his rival and ally, Ieyasu Tokugawa observed the shifting power structure and quietly made his next move. Fushimi became the stage upon which he prepared to seize true control. It was here in silence that the road to the Battle of Sekigahara began. Today, a reconstructed tower stands as a reminder of the power struggle that once unfolded within these walls. This is the place where Ieyasu began his calm march toward ruling the realm. At last, Ieyasu Tokugawa stepped into a decisive battle for control of the realm. At Sekigahara, he clashed with Mitsunari Ishida. Anticipating the enemy's movements, Ieyasu positioned his forces in key locations. Behind the scenes, he also worked to secretly win over certain generals to his side. His careful preparations paid off, and the tide of battle quickly turned in his favor. He never rushed, yet when the moment came, he moved without hesitation. It was the moment when caution and decisiveness bore fruit. With this victory, he secured his place as the true ruler of Japan, both in name and in power. It marked the path to the founding of the Edo shogunate. Today, the old battlefield at Sekigahara features observation decks and museums, offering a glimpse into the precision and strategy behind Ieyasu's triumph. The year after his victory at Sekigahara, Ieyasu Tokugawa made Edo Castle his stronghold, marking the beginning of his rule. Its grounds spanned over 25 million square feet, roughly the size of 40 American football fields. It was less a castle and more a city in scale. Through the expansion of the castle and development of the surrounding town, Edo would grow into one of the largest cities in Japan. Ieyasu ruled not through brute force, but through systems and order. He made local lords watch over one another, enforced strict codes for the samurai, and created a society where people could live in peace, guided by the presence of temples and shrines. All of it revolved around Edo Castle. Even today, the imperial palace still breathes with the quiet presence of stone walls and moats built in Ieyasu's time. This is the place that marks the end of the Sengoku and the beginning of peace. After his death, Ieyasu Tokugawa was deified as Tosho Digongen and enshrined at Nikotoshogu Shrine. This lavish sanctuary, built to symbolize Tokugawa authority, brought together master craftsmen from across Japan, showcasing the finest architecture and art of the early Edo period. Carvings like the Nemure Nako, the sleeping cat, and the Sanzaru, the three wise monkeys, are known around the world, each one reflecting Ieyasu's life philosophy and teachings. Here, he is no longer just a samurai of the Sengoku, but a divine figure remembered as the god who forged peace. This is the final sacred place of Ieyasu Tokugawa. More haste, less speed. Even a path that seems longer at first will take you to your goal faster if you move steadily without rushing. But when you let impatience drive you forward, you may only bring failure and end up further behind. That's why Ieyasu Tokugawa knew to move carefully, step by step, is the surest way to true success. These words speak quietly across time, reaching even those of us who live in the present. What truly matters can only be gained by patience, by steady effort, and by never hurrying the journey. Born into an age of war, Ieyasu Tokugawa overcame countless trials and at last brought all of Japan under one rule. His journey was never flashy, but cautious, steady, and at times seemingly roundabout. Without haste, without panic, without fear of defeat, he walked the path he believed in. And at the end of that path, he laid the foundation for 260 years of peace. Perhaps his was not a life about winning, but a life that knew defeat and rose again from it. In the footsteps he left behind, there is still so much for us to learn. Quietly, surely, we too can take that next step forward. That strength is already within us.